Hey guys, welcome back to Proper Chuffed and welcome back to Dunromin, my first model railway layout. As you can see, a hell of a lot has happened here. Since you last probably checked in on the channel or one of my last updates, a massive amount of scenery has taken place. Previously this was a very brown and black baseboard with a couple of hills and mountains springing up. As you can see now, we're looking a lot more like the West Highlands of Scotland. And I've really tried my best to get these natural colors to sort of blend together and create that kind of early fall, sort of early mid-fall feel that the West Highlands is known for. So lots of browns, a couple of greens here and there just to keep a little bit more color and interest on the layout. But overall, I think it's looking really mega, and it's amazing what static grass can do. Once you start adding all sorts of little bits and bobs, it really kind of blows up and expands into this suddenly very real feeling thing. And I've been super juiced about it. So I've been coming home almost every day from work and putting down glue and new patches of grass and adding more bushes and shrubs and messing around with new techniques on making trees and stuff. And it's just been so much fun. I must say, if you're on the fence about building a layout, just do it. I have next to no experience doing this, and I am absolutely astounded at what I have produced, and I'm actually just really proud of it. So today what I thought I'd do is give you a little bit of an update via a class 20 as we go along, and you guys can just see exactly where we are and see some of the smaller details that you might not see in the larger sort of overview. So hop aboard the class 20 with me. Let's take a ride around Dunromin and take a look at some of the finer details that make this layout really stand out to me. And I'll just walk you through sort of my processes and thoughts behind each of these things. Our trip today begins with our resident class 20. This is a Bachmann class 20 that I picked up. Fairly old model, but it does the job and it has sound fitted, but perhaps a little bit too loud, so I'm going to definitely switch off the sound halfway through this video. So we get fired up, and I think one of the first things you can see here is the yard lamps that I have installed. This is the Woodland Scenics Just Plug series, and I thought it would be probably the easiest way to wire up lighting across the layout through such a simple and effective and fairly cheap method. So I'm really happy with these yard lamps. One of the first scenics you're going to see here is the mountain that kind of dominates the landscape, and this is very much a central point of focus for the entire layout. And as you can see here, my ballast is fixed. I previously had a very iron oxide red color, but thanks to PG Prototypes on YouTube, he helped me kind of weather this down, and it was really great to see the ballast kind of neutralize a little bit and become a bit more natural looking. So as we move the class 20 out of the siding here, you can see the major sort of retaining wall against the side of the mountain. This is made from a Metcalf kit that I've sort of weathered up and added these sort of buttresses to it to kind of hold back and support the wall overall. My girlfriend helped me with this, and it was absolutely fantastic to finally put this in and get rid of that foam board that was there. For the two sidings, I've also added a decent amount of sort of shrubbery and overgrown grass on the side of the tracks that don't get used all that much. And I think it really sort of completes the look and makes it look like a well used and a bit abused yard. While our class 20 driver is taking a phone call from his wife, who's absolutely lambasting him for forgetting to take out the trash this morning, we can take a look at the little yard that I've sprung up here, the little diesel depot. We put down a hard standing of sort of plaster of Paris and then covered it up and made it look quite concrete. I did a bit of weathering, but I think I was a little bit too severe on that, so I'm going to definitely be toning that down a little bit. But I'm quite happy with this little more modern diesel depot that sits here. My intention here is to have a fueling point for the diesel locomotives, and where the class 37 currently sits, this is an isolated track which serves as my programming track, which is quite convenient because it's so close to the edge of the table and easy to pick up and put down locomotives without doing too much damage to anything else. All clear, and we're just going to run around our cement wagons and take them from the other side. We're just going to skip around quickly, and while we do this you can get a better view of exactly what's going on with the sort of detailing with the grass around the sleepers and the yard in general. get a good idea that, you know, there's a lot of like overgrown sort of shrubbery in this area. I'm probably going to do a little bit more, to be honest with you, because I'm not quite happy with just how little I've done here, but I think overall the impression's there, and it's definitely starting to look a lot more lifelike. We're all hooked up, so let's begin our inspection run around Dunromin and see what's going on. Our driver is now fully focused on the road, so let's get going. So one of the first things you'll see is the yard here, and I absolutely love how this is starting to look now. I definitely am going to be putting up some fencing around the yard, but I love that the sort of natural grass is sort of moving into the yard a little bit here, and I think that looks quite good. One of the things I've been mucking around with is making trees. We have this beautiful branch in South Africa called the African olive, and it produces these very small, fine, little almost tree-like flowers. And so I've picked a couple of those and sort of given them a bit of an autumn flock, and I think they've come out quite nicely. Rotating around, you can see the two slopes, the little more gentle one from the yard area and the more steep one that leads up the Hill of Despair towards the Whiskey Line. This is one of my favorite scenes here as the Class 20 makes its way underneath the bridge, as there's just so much to see with the yard in the background. Something smells a little bit funky around here, and that's actually that little bush on the left hand side of the bridge there. Now that was actually made out of toy animal stuffing, a mix of Italian herbs and some spray paint, and I think it actually looks quite good altogether. Moving towards the Junction area, and you can see this is one of the busier parts of the line, and I've really enjoyed sort of bringing in the colors of autumn into the grass here, as well as a lot more shrubbery sort of covering up different parts. I went with a sort of lighter green in this area because as it is fall, colors are slowly sort of changing. We're not exactly in the dead of winter at this point, so we've got some light greens, and I think that works quite well. Panning up, we've got a good view of the mountains. These were initially very, very green, and I have added a lot more sort of burnt brown colors to this to kind of bring in that more autumn feel to it. There were actually a couple of sections that were just too green, and I had to sort of bring them back down and turn them down. Static grass is absolute magic though. While the Class 20 makes its way through the tunnels, we've got a better view here from the top just to see exactly how the landscape sort of all comes together. And I really like the sort of contrast between the busier yard side and the more natural looking right hand side. And here comes the Class 20 through the tunnel as we loop around. We're going to hold fire here while we move the LMS Black 5, putting her onto the secondary line while the Class 20 will take the distillery line. This Black 5 continues to impress me. I know there have been a lot of issues lately with other reviews, and I'm happy to say mine is still performing as expected. Class 20 now takes on to the main line as we can now switch over up into the distillery line, or as 00 Dave calls it, the Hill of Despair. So my intention always was to have a little bit more of a mountainous region, and I've done so using the two ends of the baseboard. So we've got two small sort of gorms that have appeared here, and these will be part of the larger scenery backboard. I quite like bringing rocks into the features as often as I can, or as what I suppose looks as natural as possible. I think this little corner here is really indicative of the sort of rougher terrain that is coming up further along the Hill of Despair or Whiskey Distillery line. And here we are at one of the most beautiful parts of the layout, if I may say so. I absolutely love this treacherous distillery line with this very rocky outcropping, which looks like it's been blasted away many years ago and now is servicing these much smaller trains that head up and down from the distillery. I can't get enough of this little line though. It's so rugged and raw, and I'm really enjoying adding lots of sort of flora to all of this section, simply because it's just got so much character. I can imagine a couple of hikers in mid-autumn sort of heading along the mountaintop, taking scenic photos of locomotives running below them. This is one of my favorite parts of the entire layout. That concludes our trip, and I think you get a really good sense of how the layout is structured overall. It's a fairly big layout, I would say, and I'm really rather impressed with how the space has been utilized to balance sort of the natural world with the railway, making it feel like it blends rather seamlessly. I've not seen a lot of West Highland layouts on YouTube, so I've kind of been doing this like based on what I remember, some YouTube videos of the actual West Highlands this time of year, and a couple of reference images, especially for the yard and stuff like that. And I think what I've put together so far is pretty cool. Next steps, some larger Scots pine trees that'll be making an appearance in the layout. The station area needs to be completely finished at this point. It really is just quite barren. There's a parking lot that'll be sort of pitching up over here. And yeah, lots more shrubbery and bushes. And then I think I can start getting onto like the finer details. One of the things that you did not see in this video is basically the top where the distillery is, and that is because that is still basically just a working space, and the distillery is on its way. It will be coming, and it will be one of the next sort of big scenic parts of the layout that I do. But I've got still a lot to do here. I still need to, you know, sort out a lot of trees and shrubbery, and of course one of the most exciting things is the scenic backboards, and I've got a really exciting plan for that. So stick around. I've got a very cool sort of novel idea for this, and I think it will be quite interesting to see. So do stick around for that. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. That would be really awesome. I hope you join me on this journey of building my first layout of Dunromin, the West Highland line. I'm really stoked about it, and I just can't get enough of it, and I can't wait to start doing locomotive impressions with this kind of scenery behind it. It's gonna look amazing. So looking forward to the next video. If you did enjoy this video, please drop me a thumbs up. That would be greatly appreciated. That would be absolutely mega. And until I see you guys next time, keep your engines fired and stay on track. All the best.